This podcast is supported by patrons. You can find a full list of them in the description of this episode. Hello, very good morning to you listeners and viewers of Good Morning BSS World podcast. Today we are recording this podcast from Warsaw, from Poland, where I have a special guest who came to me directly from IT Ukraine Association. Usually we do have the podcasts recorded online via StreamYard with guests who are representatives of the ITU or companies who are members of the IT Ukraine Association, but this time I have a guest representing ITU who is here with me in Warsaw, and he is Andrii. Hi, Andrii, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, perfect. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the invitation.
Oh, thank you for accepting it, and I am so glad that we do have a representative of ITU in Poland with your special role, which is representing the association outside of Ukraine and building the bridges and building the international connections. And this is actually the topic which we are going to cover now. But before we do that, let our viewers and speakers and listeners to get more familiar with yourself. So just introduce us who you are.
Yeah, actually, my name is Andrii Lytvyn. I'm Chief Business Development Officer of the IT Ukraine Association. And basically, here I'm responsible for the international partnership cooperation, international trade events, shows, conferences. So basically, I'm responsible for organization those activities for Ukrainian companies, especially ITU members. But before of that, I was working for the state institution in Ukraine, which is responsible also for the export promotion activities for huge variety of Ukrainian companies in different sectors like machinery, agriculture, light industry, so furniture, and IT as well. So, but now basically I'm focused on IT and doing everything to make Ukraine more popular abroad and to help our members sign new contracts abroad.
So Ukraine, of course, is popular abroad when it comes to, for example, agriculture, or the mining industry or IT. And that's why we do have this series of podcasts where we do meet a lot of Ukrainian IT companies. And to be honest, I am always admiring the speed and the scope of the services which are being provided by those companies. So now, in your role, you are looking for new markets, for new initiatives, for new events, and so on and so on. Is it Europe which you are targeting, or a wider scope of continents, countries where you are interested in promoting IT Ukraine?
Europe is in our focus for a long time already, but also we are looking into another markets like United States also is in our focus, but Canada as well. MENA region during the last few years it has become quite important market for Ukrainian companies. They're looking for new possibilities on those markets. Also, we tried the Japanese market, which is quite interesting. There's a huge and a great experience for ourselves to know how this market works, to know the cultural differences. So basically, Europe is in our focus, but we are looking far away from the Europe as well. So basically, also sometimes Africa. For some companies, it's also interesting market. In cooperation, like hiring people from there as well for providing outsourcing services, and also to find new clients there.
And if you were to make a list of top three, let's say first of all continents, and secondly top three countries which you are now interested the most, targeting the most, which are those?
Yeah, it's basically still the European market, the Europe, the North America, and regarding the markets, the United States, the United Kingdom, Germany, for example. So those markets are in the focus. But there are two different statistics. The first one is the market in focus from which our companies would like to have some clients, and the countries where we are exporting. So basically on the statistics of our export, we are exporting to the United States, to the United Kingdom, to Cyprus, for example, to Malta. But basically it's because some companies, Ukrainian companies, do have legal entities in those countries as well. And like they're working, they are signing contracts from the foreign companies, from the name of foreign companies, because there are a lot of risks in cooperation with Ukraine right now.
Before we actually arranged this recording in our studio, we had an option to have a chat a few days ago. And during this talk, you also mentioned the area of Arabic, Saudi Arabia and the Emirates. How about this region?
Yeah, it's quite interesting region for quite big and huge companies because it has some specific features. This market is quite interesting and it's a long-term perspective. Now we are considering this market like additional opportunity, but because of the cultural differences, there is one very important point, that the companies should have representatives and the legal entity on those markets. So basically, this is the opportunity for quite good players, Ukrainian companies, which do have some extra money to support this office and to work on this market. Yeah, we are considering like United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Oman. Actually, like a month ago, I was in Oman at Comax exhibition, and it was great experience because the Omani government, they have like the focus on digitalization right now. And they are looking for new opportunities for new contractors who could improve their governmental services, banking services, like logistics services. And this is also right now great opportunity for the companies to use it, because the Russians, they also trying to enter this market, and they already entered it somehow. So they are represented, but we also would like to have our niche there.
So I can imagine that in some fields you are competing with the Russian guys.
Yeah, actually, on those markets, yeah.
Okay. And from your perspective, if you are entering, you are building those relations with those countries or the companies or the events organizers and so on and so on, how much are they aware of this IT in Ukraine? So how much do you need to start to explain, and how much they are already prepared in advance, that they know that they are talking to the right people?
Actually, in Europe, it's not a problem, for example, but in MENA region, Gulf region, it could be a problem. Could be a huge problem, because they are not familiar with the Ukrainian market. They are not familiar with the Ukrainian possibilities, with the export opportunities. So what, even in agricultural sector, as I remember, yeah, they were all familiar with the Ukrainian sunflower oil, but they didn't know about any other products, services which we are providing, which are like one of the top in the world, actually. So we need to work more in promotion of Ukrainian services, products, especially IT. In Saudi Arabia, in United Arab Emirates, it could be a problem, because they don't know that the Ukrainian companies are working they're providing services for huge businesses during all over the world. Yeah, and that's a problem with the representativeness on that market. They don't know about Ukraine, actually.
And is the Ukrainian government somehow helpful within those activities? For example, let's imagine a situation. You are representing ITU association, so an association where you have the members who are the service providers and so on and so on. But also Ukraine is represented abroad by the embassies, by the chambers of commerce, or this kind of group. When you are entering a certain area, is it like just the position, just in the name of ITU, or you are combining forces with some extra agencies or representatives, for example, of the embassy, and just going in a bigger group?
Anyway, we would like to combine all our options and possibilities and involve the Ministry of Digital Transformation, the embassy, which is located there directly. Also, there are some additional state governmental institutions which are providing such kind of support. But previously, I have to mention that the IT was not actually represented by like taking part with the national pavilions at the shows. Dubai is one of the biggest exhibition center, the hub in the region, in Asia also, which covers a lot of countries like Berlin. But we were not represented as IT provider. So actually, there was only focus on agriculture, basically. So the goods, not services. And yeah, we are like usually when we are trying to organize something, not only in MENA region but in Europe, we have communication with the Ukrainian embassy. Also, if there are some chamber of commerces like Ukrainian Germany Chamber of Commerce or Norwegian Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce, we're also in communication. But in Saudi Arabia, for example, Oman, United Arab Emirates, you can nothing to do there without the government representatives. It is not possible. There should be the head of the delegation, like the highest representative, and only in this case you could organize some B2B meetings with the decision makers.
So this is this place where the politics is needed for the business relations. I think that we have similar, let's say, challenges when it comes to the Polish business. So with the Polish IT companies who want to explore and go more wider within the world. Okay, let's now a little bit focus on the way how it works. So if you are going abroad, so you want to represent the companies who are either the members of ITU or other who you are partnering and so on and so on. Which group of services is in the biggest demand now, if you take a look on those markets which you are targeting? Is it purely software development, or is it, for example, AI, or maybe something else?
Actually, we should start basically from the survey. We are not organizing the events just because they are the biggest one in the world or the most popular. We are starting with the survey through the Ukrainian companies because only they could know which event, which trade show, which potential partner is the most relevant for them. So we are starting from this point. After that, we are looking into the events, which are quite interesting. It could be honestly speaking, everyone is talking about Web Summit, but it's really, I guess, impossible to find someone during the Web Summit. A lot of people, you should do a lot of homework just to find the right guy at the Web Summit. So we are trying now to look into the niche trade shows. For example, if we are talking about agri-tech, we are looking into the shows. For example, there is one show, I don't remember the correct name, but it's in agrarian sector in Berlin, the biggest in agricultural sector, the trade show in the world. And the part of this trade show is allocated for the technologies, for the agri-tech. So basically, there is more options and more possibilities based on the opinions of the companies to find the right person in this show who will need your solution or your services in some quite niche show. And basically we are starting from this point. After that, it's based on the auditory, on the number of people who are visiting this show, also the pricing. We saw that if the ticket for the show costs more than €1,000, you understand that there will be mostly decision makers, not like we call them tourists at the trade show. So basically, this is our main goal. What is used mostly, what the people looking from the Ukrainian IT, it depends actually, because as I mentioned, we are going to the niche shows. Like the month ago, we were at the Money 2020, the fintech trade show, quite niche because it's only 6,000-7,000 participants. Yep. It's quite small, but the cost of tickets almost €4,000, and we understand that the only decision makers, the CEOs, attending this trade show. So basically, this is our main point.
So rather, let's say, the focused events, so where you touch already the IT with a certain industry, then the general IT events as such. This Web Summit is a great example, actually, because there are thousands of people attending it. I do treat this event more like getting information what are the global trends rather than to build the relations and so on and so on. But if you have a clear vision of targeting, for example, pharma or the agri, then it's better to go to this kind of events because there is a bigger probability to get the decision makers.
Yeah, actually, like an example, Ukraine is also, the health tech is one of the sector which is where it developed. It's, I guess, number 4 or 5 in the whole structure of IT in Ukraine. So the trade show Medica, which is also in Düsseldorf in Germany, this is a trade show about medical equipment, but also different companies which are providing IT solutions for medical sectors. They also participate and they take part in this exhibition. And from their also opinion and the leads after the exhibition, they told that this is more efficient than the participation in the like overall trade show, where are all all IT companies represented from different sectors. It's like the option, the possibility to find the right person through the app, or like just staying at the booth, or just going to the conference, is bigger than taking part in the trade show, where are like thousands participants. So basically, also the agricultural sector the same. I don't know, also the fintech. It's okay. It's only about fintech basically. The defense tech also, and also there are some products of dual use in Ukraine right now. It's very like from agriculture, the drones we talked previously, yes, that they were used in agriculture. Now there is like, we are talking about army of drones, which are very useful on the battlefield. So we could find the enemy, we could attack them. So basically those things could be represented in different exhibitions. And Ukrainian companies, what we are talking about Web Summit, the small and medium-sized business, they are thinking, they have this in mind, that if you're taking part in the biggest show, you have more potential and more options to find someone, the investor, the partner, the client. But this is like, it's not true based on the experience.
Sometimes it's just luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And now quite difficult subject, but how about the service delivery? Because everybody knows in the world that there is a war in Ukraine, yeah? But also everybody knows, or at least a lot of people know, that there are living IT companies working over there and providing a lot of good work. When you are talking on those international events to the audience, to the companies, to the potential clients, when this element of service delivery is appearing, how are you talking about that? Is it like 100% delivery of services from Ukraine, or it is somehow divided with the other places where there are branches or the units of the IT Ukrainian companies?
Actually, this is a very good question and very difficult one, because during the last events abroad, it was the topic like number one. What the people asking us, how the companies are working, how they're providing their services, because they see all this information in the news and from the mass media that there is lack of electricity, attacks on the energy infrastructure. So basically, and we also asked the companies how they are negotiating, the Ukrainian companies, how they are providing negotiations, what they're talking to their potential partners. They tell them that they are trying to be honest, actually. That they're working from Ukraine, basically. Some companies, they do have also the employees abroad, like for safety. But actually, they're trying to be honest. We used to organize it. So we are using like the external batteries, the EcoFlows, for example, the Blue 80. There are a huge variety. We know all about that. The generators, which are working on the fuel, the Starlinks. So basically, for IT guys, it's not a problem to work even in such conditions. It's a bigger problem for some manufacturing facilities. It's a bigger problem for service provider when you need to be in person to provide this service using some additional tools. I don't know even which an example. So you cannot do haircut, without electricity. But for IT companies, you just need a laptop and the internet and some electricity for the laptop. So they're using the external batteries. It's quite enough for I have a lot of friends which are working in IT. They just bought like this battery. It's enough for approximately 12-13 hours without electricity at all, like to power your computer, to have a light and something else, and also to power the Starlink. So that's how they're working, how the IT sector working.
No single point of failure. And when you are on those international events, I am more than sure that you are also trying to compare what other countries are being present on those events. So you are representing Ukraine and especially the ITU, but there are probably companies like from Poland or from other countries. If you do this kind of analysis, which countries are also like visible or active when looking for business for them?
Actually, even during our last analytical report, which is called Digital Tiger, we compared Ukraine and Poland, and for example Brazil, and if I'm correct, the Czech Republic, which are quite similar from the point of economic view and the infrastructure. We are trying not to compare. The people asking why you're better. So we are talking about the quality. Actually, we are not cheap. So Ukraine is not cheap in IT.
I think Europe is not cheap.
Yeah, Europe is not cheap, but usually it used to be like Ukraine is cheap. Everything is cheap from Ukraine. The goods, the products, they are cheap, and the Ukrainian companies actually not in IT, but the whole Ukrainian sectors, they used to talk about disadvantage. We have the value for money. Like it's quite cheap, it's quite qualitative. So better than China, not so good like European one, but so we are not cheap, we are quite expensive during the full-scale work conditions. Also, it's a huge support from foreign partners like to buy from Ukraine, to sign contracts with Ukrainian companies. A lot of also would like to support in this way to provide the work, the job for the companies. And the quality, also, the experience of Ukrainian companies. I guess there is no example, probably the Israeli companies maybe, but actually we have the huge, we have Russia, yeah, with a lot of cyber attacks, with a lot of money, and our companies, they just they continue to work to protect our country, because a lot of them, they're working also for cybersecurity, providing support to the government, and also they're doing their job.
I have two remaining questions. One of them is partially already answered by you, but it will be quite straightforward. Why the world should be interested in buying IT services from Ukraine?
I guess it's based on our experience. We, from the last, just going back to statistics, starting from the 2013, we increased the few times the export of IT services from Ukraine. And like being Ukrainian, yes, I visited a lot of countries, and I didn't saw so many solutions which are in Ukraine, provided by the IT companies. We don't have to look like deep, just comparing the governmental services. A lot of people abroad, they do have this stereotype that there is a huge bureaucracy also in Ukraine. This is the post-Soviet country and so on. But we were the first country with the digital passport. Now we can open the private entrepreneurship in 5 minutes, just using your laptop or your phone, for example. And this is, as we are talking about the government, the most bureaucratic structure. If we are talking about the business, they are far away from that. They are more developed. They are providing a lot of different services. Even just looking into the Ukrainian bank sphere. The Ukrainian bank, Monobank, which is called from the Universal Bank, they tried to open for their Polish market. They also, if I'm correct, they registered the legal entity here, but they didn't get the license. And I think because they're quite competitive. So the Ukrainian, this is the bank where you're doing everything through your app, yeah, and they have a lot of solutions now. For example, when you are going to the restaurant, you are just scanning the QR code. In some restaurants, you can order from this QR code everything you need. It will be delivered to a table, and then through this app, just immediately pay your order. So this is like the development. That's quite simple, but it's so easy to live with that. And also now, even with the donations to the army, yeah, because a lot of people, they donate millions of US dollars actually, and they just like it was also their idea. They do have like this. You could organize the donation for anything you would like. Just give people the link, and through this link they can donate for especially this stuff, what is needed to the army. And quite simple solutions. They're making our life easier, and I didn't see it in any other country. Actually, the banking sphere, the I don't know, the health tech sphere, go into the private. Healthcare standard, yeah, to the hospital. So we are using the solutions of the Ukrainian IT companies, and it's quite easy. You just looking through the app, just make an appointment to another day, go into the doctor, receiving all the documents, all the like everything, any information you need is on your phone. Everything. It's so simple. It's so easy. I cannot find it anywhere.
The last question.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to get more information about IT industry in Ukraine or about IT Ukraine Association as such, so a body who represents the IT industry in your country, where would you direct such person?
Actually, this person could find everything on our website. Also, if we are like used to have the analytical report every year, so we have this digital tiger about the 2023, the statistics, all the information. It's straightforward without, we show that, for example, it was a decrease in 2023 comparing to 24. They could find all this information, and also we have the incredible tech catalog of the Ukrainian companies. They also could find the contacts and the companies, the information about them. Everything what's needed. And also I guess there are a lot of different the local regional clusters which also provide in the data information based on the regional analytical data and also the Ukrainian data.
So I will make sure to provide the links to this, what Andrii was saying, to the description of today's episode. So for those of you who want to get more details, more information, it will be much easier, much shorter way to get to them. Andrii, thank you very much. I do really appreciate that you came here and visit my studio just to have this talk, and keeping fingers crossed for the growth of IT business abroad.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation, and I guess we'll have a great partnership with the Polish companies as well, because as we see, there are a lot of Ukrainian companies which are already represented here. I guess from the last numbers, it's like 160 companies are already in Poland registered also. And we are not competing. We would like to cooperate to create this synergy and create great products.
Yeah, let's make it like a cooperation, collaboration, rather than competition.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. And for you, my viewers and listeners, just take a look on the Good Morning BSS World podcast, because in here, every month, we are sharing new episode when we do talk to the Ukrainian IT companies, so you can get much more information about what companies from Ukraine are doing. All the best, and see you in the next episode.